this where we created this our header for the project we would be working on for this particular track. So I showed you guys that to just add a simple header, you just click on this plus icon here. And then please, for those using mobile phones, you guys had an issue in the last class. So, and I was trying to explain something about how to come. How many of you can see my screen, please? My video screen. I want to show those using mobile phone a simple trick to maximize their screen so they can follow up what we are doing properly. So I have my mobile phone with me here. So I'll be showing you guys what to do. Let me log into my account. So I want to make sure everybody is following this particular class. So for those making use of mobile phones, when you log in, you should see when you log in, you should see a screen like this. Uh, I don't know if you guys can see my screen. So the first thing you have to do is come on your the first thing you have to do is, can you guys see my screen? You click this icon here, this three dash here. You click on that particular icon, it will open up this sidebar for you. On this sidebar, you will see the dashboard, you will see home and other menu buttons there. You click on home. Then when you click on home, due to my settings, my search bar is at the bottom of my phone. That is on the footer of my screen here. That is where there is a three dots. Excuse me, give me a minute, please. There is this three dots icon near my near my search bar. There is this three dots there. When you click on that particular three dots, you look for where they wrote something like desktop site or switch to desktop sites. Once you click it, your display will refresh into this into something like this. That is the desktop view, something like this. From there, you scroll down to the website we are working on. Sorry. Just scroll down to the near almost the bottom of your screen. You will see the platform we are currently working on. From there, once you click on it, you will see edit site. Click on that edit site and you come into this particular screen that is being shared right now. So that is for those making use of mobile phones. Those on laptop, you guys don't, there is no issues. You guys can just keep following. Namdi, you said you are not seeing my screen, but can you see these three dots? beside your search bar. For you, it might be up here depending on your phone settings. It can be up here. Okay, don't worry. If you're on laptop, don't worry. This particular instruction are for those making use of mobile phones. So that is it for that. Let's continue from where we stopped in the last class. Let's continue by building our hero section. So let me unpin this. So for our hero section, what we just the same way we added this recycle smart, we are going to go to this, we are going to click this plus icon here. When we click it, we navigate to patterns. This place they wrote patterns. It will list out all the patterns available. But this does not mean that we are limited to using only patterns. So before while we are still working on this page, I will show you guys how to create your own patterns and also save it to this pattern. So maybe if you are working on another project of your own, you can easily, and then you need a similar pattern, you can easily select your own personal pattern and then edit it to your taste. So that is, but for now, for the next two sections we'll be working on, we'll just select easy patterns from here because they have already existing patterns that suit properly into what we are going to be needing. So what we need now is hero. When you are in this patterns tab, scroll down to hero directly under header. So like I said in the last class, we'll be making use of this particular hero that has no header. I believe most of you guys already have this hero on your own website, right? Please, if you already have this hero, leave a thumbs up. Let me know how many people that followed our last class properly. Good, good. So for those that didn't follow, just try as much as possible to follow up here. So the first thing you have to do is click on these images. That is, just try and click outside of these write-ups to select the background. Click on replace. I think I already have the image I want to use. So instead of clicking upload, I will click on open media library and select this particular image. But I don't want to use this image directly due to that the image height is too long. It's too long for what I want to use it for that particular hero. I'm going to be cropping the image a little bit to perfectly fit into that our hero. So what I'm going to do here is click on this edit image. They have crop. Okay, look at the crop button here. Just click on crop. Crop it down a bit. What I need mostly is for these waste bins to be properly displayed on our hero. So that's why I'm cropping it down from the top. That's why I'll be cropping it down from the top. So we'll be left with mostly this building and these waste bins. So after cropping it down, I click apply crop. That's all. So once you click apply crop, don't forget to save edits so that this particular image you just edited will save properly to your image library. So once I've done that, I'll click on select. So as if I did not crop this image, this particular waste bins down here will not be properly displayed. So the next thing I'll have to do is add my write-ups. So let me add the required write-ups. Though I'm using a different write-up from the last class, but You guys should not worry. It doesn't matter that much. So before this particular paragraph write up, I want to just add a simple badge write up here to like complement this header. To do that, what you just have to do is after this header, you click enter. Once you click enter, it will create another um it will just create another paragraph for you to type what you want to type. So for me, most of the things I will be typing in this class, I wrote them out on a notepad so I can easily copy and paste them when I need. So the class will move fast. So I'll I'll be pasting this. So maybe after writing, you want to edit. If you want to edit your write up, maybe add a little this into it. Like for if you type your own, it might appear something like this. It will appear just something like this, as simple as this. So once it's like this, all you have to do is highlight the text, click on bold to make it bold. For me, I want to add it, I want to make it slanty. So I click on this italics. This italic, I click on it to make the text appear slanty. So to make it bolder, I just came here, clicked on this, I just selected a highlight to make it a bit bolder. Then the last thing I did was this. When you click on this arrow down button, it will open up these tabs for you. I will just click on this inline code. That with that inline code, it will spread out these letters out. It will spread these letters out to make them appear more balanced on our hero section. So there is another thing you can do. Maybe you don't want to use any of these settings. You can still use something like strike through. When you write this, you can just come here, click on this drop down. From the drop down, you click on strike through here. When you click on strike through, it will give you this effect. Like after typing something, you just strike through it. You can do that. But me, I don't fancy that. So I won't be adding it to my own project. That I doesn't fancy it doesn't mean it does not mean that you cannot add it to your own project. It's basically up to you. Like if you feel that it will make your if it will pass the message you want to pass your users properly, you can easily add it. So then I add my normal text paragraph to drive home the information on our hero section. So this is it. Hope you guys are following up to this extent. If you are following, please leave a thumbs up. Let me good, good. So in the last class, I already showed you guys how to edit buttons. Just click on it, clear the text, and add what you want to what you want the button to say. And then for this second button, I will do something like waste management. So that is it for the hero. The next, before we start creating our own patterns, the next pattern we are going to be adding from the default patterns. Just use the same account, the same Gmail account. Once you Ikechukwu, I'm talking to you. Once you use the same Gmail account and log in, it will direct you to the it will direct you back to the page you are working on or to your dashboard. Just continue working from there. You don't have to start creating. Just as far as that account is logged in on that phone, use the same process and log in again. You won't have any issue joining, continuing from your project will still be there as far as you save them from the last class. That are all there. Hope you can understand me. Ikechukwu, please leave a thumbs up if you understood what I just said now. Good. For the person asking me what's the link, I'll be adding the link in the chat right now. WordPress.com. That is the link. I just added it to the chat. So continuing with our last addition from these patterns before we start building our own patterns, let's add a simple about us section. What will this section do? This section is a section that is most sites you visit. It's basically telling the users like, okay, this is a brief explanation of what we are about. This is what this what our project is all about. You don't have to go into details here. You just have to just like drop key points that, and then add a link to your about us page. Then on that your about us page is when you go into details about who you are and what you are building or what the company is all about. That is what you do in the about us page. That's where you go into details. But for this particular landing page, you just add a brief about us that will just tell the user briefly about you, about the company. Let's dive into it. So when you click on, when you, as usual, when you navigate to our patterns, just at the top of all the list, you will see about. You will see this about here. All you have to do is click it, and then they have different designs you can use. But for this class, I'll be going with something as simple as this particular about us page. I'll be going with about us section. I'll be going with something this simple. So as you can see, this is the patterns, the pattern I selected. Sorry. This is the pattern I selected, and I'll be working with for this particular class. So sometimes it misbehaves. Sometimes WordPress does this, but okay. Then if you are trying to click on this text to edit it and it's not working, all you have to do is click outside the text, that is on the pattern itself. You will see this button. It's let me exactly. You will see this place that it will list actions to do. You will see this edit pattern. All you have to do is click on edit pattern, and you should be able to. Let me save this project first. So all you have to do is click on that edit, and you should be able to edit the text. So first things, let me just extend this about the road here to about us. And like I said earlier, I already typed out all I need for this particular class. So I'll just be copying and pasting. It's not a must you be writing the same. My text and yours must not be the same thing. You can choose, and you can still write what I'm writing, but you can also write your own text. You can choose to write your own text based on what you want, or you can just wait. Okay, there is no, you can just write your own text. Or if you don't have, if you from your class with from the foundation track, you guys spoke extensively about this recycling, and then so you can easily from that your green track, from that your green track section, you can just explain about what you understood from that session here in this about us section for your own project. Sure, you get, maybe when you later, when you are working on a personal project, you can go into details what you are like, what you are working on, and the rest. But for this section, just you can just briefly explain what you understood from your green track section. So for me, I will just be doing something like this. Okay, what I wrote down here is make recycling simple, make an impact. It's just that simple. I'm trying to keep everything I'm doing simple and fast. So make recycling simple, make an impact. So the next thing I'll be doing is editing this text here. That is the explanatory text. Please hope you guys can see my screen. Leave a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Good, good. So on this particular section, I will easily, okay, let me just copy and paste what I did. So this is what I mapped out for this section. Recycle Smart is a practical platform designed to help individuals, households, and communities understand waste, sort it correctly, and make it more responsible recycling choice and make more responsible recycling choices. From learning what can be recycled to discovering better ways to manage everyday waste, we provide clear information, useful resources, and practical guidance that make sustainable living easier. Our goal is simple: help people know their waste, sort it right, and build cleaner communities, one choice at a time. That is for me. So then I will also be editing this button as well. I'll be leaving the button as learn more. But what I'll be doing is adding a link to the button. And to do that, you click on the background of this button that is outside the text. When it when this button here displays, the next thing you have to do is click on this particular icon here. This kind is kind of a bracket with dash inside. When you navigate to that particular icon, you will see they will describe it as link. When you click on it, just type about here. When you type about, due to we don't have an about page here, you you will have this you will have this option to create page about. Okay, sorry, just about, not about here. You will create, we already have an about page, so if you have the page you can easily click it, or maybe if it's a new page you can just create page about, but we already have about page. We just proceed and click on our page. That's all. With that, when someone visits our site after reading this and they want to know more about the company, when they click on this learn more, all they will just get, they will be redirected to the about us page. On that about us page, they can read more about this particular company. Hope you guys are following. Any confusion so far? Good. So we'll proceed. So like I said, the last this thing, this particular about section will be the last section we would be it will be the last section we'll be adding from that pattern, from those patterns. Most of our the next sections we'll be working on will be custom sections. We'll be building our own custom patterns. Give me a minute. First, I want to add something. This time is if you when you click on this plus icon, when you click on this plus icon, instead of going to patterns, you scroll on this page. I'm looking for column. It's, normally when you are on this page, okay, yes, this is it. When you're on this page, you will see this plus icon at the at near the last, on this last about us section. You will see this plus icon. When you navigate to it, it will write something like add block. So that is telling you that you can add the next block by yourself. So that's what we'll be basically doing here. And when you click it, you will see these options. But then let me visit our let me visit the sketch we are working with. Based on our sketch, the next section should be waste categories. So working with waste categories, what we are basically doing is trying to tell users about the waste categories. But due to there are a lot of categories waste can be in. We are not going to be displaying everything on this particular section. So what we are going to do is when you click on this add this thing, you search for it should be colon, or first let's do heading. You create a heading. I'll be using H2 is too large, so I'll be using H3. Let's add a simple H3 header. Before we center it, let's type what the header is about, which is waste categories. When you are done typing it, you can easily select it. When you will go ahead and highlight it. When you highlight it, to center it, you click on this align text icon here. When you click on it, it will display align text left, which is currently where it's at. You have align text center, which is when you click on this align text center, it will bring the text to the center of the page here. When you click align text right, it will align the text to this right, like to the right end of the screen. But what we want to do, we want to place that in the center. That is at the center of our screen. So we do align text center and then click in front of it. Let's increase the size of this. You can increase the size when you highlight it and click on this H3 button here. Click on the H3, it will display for you H1, H2. The lower the number, the larger the text appears. So you can select, okay, we are currently in H3. Let's just use H2. So then the next thing, sorry, the next thing is the next. We add a paragraph. The paragraph will basically explain what this particular section is about, what we are trying to do with this section. So for us, what we are trying to do with this section is okay. Practical guide. I generated this particular text with ChatGPT, so it will be easier for me. Practical guide, useful insight, and simple tips to help you understand waste, sort it correctly, and make smarter choices every day. As usual, we are going to be centering this particular paragraph. You can call this particular kind of text a paragraph. So to center it as well, all we have to do is like we did with the header. All we have to do is, or with the heading, what we have to do is just click we just select like just select align text center from here. So the next thing we have to do, we have to create a column, that is a three grid column. What we aim to achieve with this particular what a yes a three three by three three section column, you can call it that, three by three, yes. So what we aim to achieve with this is display, just to display three simple um the we'll just choose out of the waste categories we have, we'll just choose and display three. So display three and then add a button for view more. The view more button will direct users to our waste categories page, that is waste management page. And on that page we list all the other waste categories available, and then explain them too properly on that page. So to do that, after this paragraph, you click enter. It will create another paragraph for you, but this time around we are trying not to work with paragraph. What you are going to do is click on this plus icon, the plus icon that has ad block when you navigate to it. When you click the plus icon, the plus icon comes with the paragraph. So once you click on that plus icon, it will open up this selection for you. What you'll be looking for is a column. So instead of doing browse all, you can easily type co. So as you can see, I just type CO and it brought out what you are looking for, which is this particular block columns. You just click on that. Eh, so when you click on that, like I told you guys earlier, we'll be going with this three by three column. We'll be going by, they have 100% column, that is just one column. That is, this particular column will cover the entire screen. But that's not what we are trying to achieve. If I wanted to list this particular categories, if I wanted to list them, that is point one, point two, I can easily go with this thing, that is single column. But then that's not what I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to grid them into three. That is, when users, the desktop display of this particular screen is going to be three columns, but then on mobile it will easily list itself out. To do that, you select this three by, they have another three by three where the center column is larger than the two left and right columns. But then we want all the columns to be equal, like equal columns. No column will be larger than the other. So to do that, we choose this particular layout, this layout here. So now that I've clicked on the layout, as you can see, it's displayed one. If you click here, you see the second one, and here the third one. So what you are going to do here is, first thing is add. When we click on add, we want each column to have an image. That is the image of the category we are talking about. So the first thing we have to do is look for images here. If I type image, you will see there is another image block. Sorry, it will display another image block for me, which is image select field, gallery, media. There are other type of images here, but the one we are looking for is this particular one. That is this first one that was displayed by default on our block. So I just select that. It will ask us to upload an image. But what I will do now is I will just select a random image for now. You can leave it blank, but it's advisable to just add a placeholder there to serve as a reminder that I have to come back here and add an image. But we'll be adding the images later when we are done with the rest of the columns. So the first thing I do is select an image from media library as usual. I will be using this same image we used in Hero. I'll be using this same image as placeholder for now. So when you've done that, the next thing you have to do It's meant to display a plus icon on this particular tab, but if it does not do that, like mine, you can easily click enter, click on the image, click enter, it will open up, it will create another block for you on the same column. So the first thing I have to do when this block have been created, when this block session have been created for me is add. Let's add a heading. Sorry, it's H3 heading, but not what you are looking for. I'm looking for a small text heading. So I'll be going with um let's look for something smaller. Okay. I'll be going with H5. H5 is smaller, but if H5 appears bigger, so big for what I need, I will switch to H6, which is the smallest heading we have on WordPress. So the first category we'll be adding will be plastic waste. That will be on our first category here. So the heading will be plastic waste. As usual, I'm going to be centering this header. All the headers, I'm going to be centering them. It will appear more professional. So for the paragraph, that is the text following this plastic waste, you can leave it, you can align it to the left if you want to, but mine will still be in the center. But that one is basically based on choice, like what you want to do. So this still appears to be too large. First, I will make it bold, and then go for H6. Yes, exactly. H6 is the smallest header we have here. We'll be going with H6. With that being done, the next thing is to add our next paragraph. So our next paragraph will be briefly explaining what plastic waste is. And like I please, is anyone lost so far? I hope you guys are following what I've been doing. Any confusion? Please, if you are confused, you are free to raise your hands, or if you have a question. So continuing from here, the next thing we have to do is to add our paragraph text, which, like I said, when you click enter here, even on mobile phones, once you click enter on heading, it should create this paragraph section for you. So what we just do is type in, just briefly explain what plastic is all about. What plastic waste is, that's what I meant by that. What plastic waste is, what plastic waste category is, that is what you just do here, which is bottles, container, bags, packaging, and other plastic items. Learn how to identify recyclable plastics and prepare them for proper recycling. But then we are not just going to stop here. We are not just going to stop here. We now go ahead and add a link. Let me first add three dots here. We now add a link here to tell users to read more on plastic waste. You can easily click, okay, let's just do, to do that, all you have to do is click here, click on this icon here, this link icon here, be just be in the center of italics and this drop down. Click on this particular icon. When you click it, it will select this section for you to add, like search or type a link, but we are typing, what we are typing is read, read more. So when you type that, let me edit this read more. I just add three dots to it. So once you type it, let me just remove this dot. You add this read more. This will now become a link. When a user reads this, if they want to know more about plastic waste, they can click on this read more. Then it will direct them to the page you already set apart for explaining to users what plastic waste is about. We still get to, okay. We still get to that. So the next thing we have to do is to create the second column. And like I said earlier, first things first, we add our image block. Okay, you click on this plus icon, as usual, image, select an image. Like I said earlier, throughout this, for now, I'll be using image placeholder. I'll be using this our hero image for placeholders. Once I'm done with that, then I will proceed with adding the images I want to use for this section. The next, and then it's not a must you select heading the h3 header from here and then edit them later. You can easily go for what you want. If you do not see them in this by default listing, you can easily go for it by typing heading head sorry. It will display for you all the headings available: h1, h2, h3, h4, h5. Okay, let's go. We are looking for heading. I can't see H6 here, so we are going for heading 6. Good. You type out the heading you want. For me, I just need heading 6. So I typed it out. The next waste in our list is paper bag. Paper and cardboard. So as usual, you center your headers, and then I always make my headers bold. And then after that, enter. Type your text as you choose. You add your link. It's meant to display the read more page for me, but I don't know why it's not doing that. But it's for our own good though. So coming to, I mistakenly created a fourth column here. So I will just click X and remove it. Coming to the third column, the same thing we did with these two. Add image, select image. Sorry. Enter H6. So the next waste categories we'll be using is going to be glass, but that because you guys should not be limited to the categories I'm currently using. You can switch them up. You can use food waste and other waste categories they have, depending on what you want for your own homepage. You must not do what I'm. You must not copy my work verbatim, or you can still do that if you wish to. We still come around to editing our our section, because we need the background on that particular section to be dark. So we still come around that. So that is it for this particular section so far. So the next thing we have to do, I'm trying to select this good. Okay. If I'm trying to select it together, but it's not letting me do that. So instead, I'm going to highlight everything. So I'm going to highlight them like this and group them. So now that I've grouped them like this, to group them, once you select them, you see, once you select the sorry, once you selected them, you will see the icon here for grouping. You can just do that. Oh, let's go back. Control Z. So the next thing we have to do, good, is to balance it out. But by I say I have to center this our heading. So there, these are all the kind of grouping they have. We have stack, row, and the rest. So let's first of all save this our work. Like before, let's first save it to our patterns to make sure that we are not going to lose, like maybe any other project we are working on, we can easily select it and edit it to our taste. So we can just do something like create pattern. When you select it, when you select the entire block, you now click on these three dots here, this option icon. You click on that, click on create patterns, and then name it. I'll be naming it, let me just name it categories. Categories. And the, okay, let me do W categories. And then it will be in our, I will create a new categories in our pattern named custom. With this, when I click on this add now, it will create a new category named custom. And then on the category, this particular section will be named W categories. That is as in waste categories. You can name your own as you choose, but I will just be going with this. So I click on add. So that is it. So when we come to these patterns, to go into patterns, you can remember how to do that. When you click on this add icon, navigate to patterns, you scroll down to the C section, you see our new category we just created, custom. You click on it, this is the category we just created. So with that being said, the next thing we have to do is to properly balance out these categories. And to do that properly, what we have to do is click on this button, edit original button. That is to edit the original pattern we have. So you click edit original, and then it will open up this modal with just that particular section. The first thing we have to do is here, click add. You click this add and look for button. On the search bar, type in button. So click on buttons. As you can see, it created these buttons for us. What we are going to do for our case is learn, sorry, learn more. That's what I'm going to be calling this button. So for the what this basically means from this styling is the outline is, instead of this button to have a dark background, if you just have a dark line around the button with a white text. That is, let me switch to outline so you understand what I'm saying. So as you can see, our button style have changed. Instead of being dark background and white text, it's now just simple white background, that is transparent background, and dark buttons around it. But I'll be going with fuel outline, oh sorry, with fuel styling. So next thing we have to do is to properly center this our button. As you can see currently, this is our button width. That is the width of our button is the same width with our categories, but we still expand that to full the screen. But before we do that, let's align our button to the center. They are like the same way we did with text. We can click on this icon. You see justify item center, justify right, and justify in between. But what you are going to do is center. So put this particular button at the center of this section. But with adding button, are we done with adding everything we are going to be adding on this page? No, because as you can see, this button is too close to the bottom of this particular section. What you are going to be doing next is to add a spacer between this button, and that is, in if you are writing code in HTML, you can just easily type something like dash bottom. That is the space between this particular button and the bottom or the next item, which in our case we are going to be targeting this borderline here as the next item. To do that, you go ahead and click on this same plus icon. When you do that, you select spacer. Okay, this is it. You select this spacer. But then we are not still done with just selecting spacer. We still have to edit this spacer. To edit the spacer, because this margin now is too wide. To close it down, you click on this icon, the icon just beside the save button. You click on that particular icon, it will open up this tab for you for styling the spacer. To do that, we now drag back this height now, this under setting tab on the height, you drag it down. When you drag it down, it reduces the margin. So I will be leaving it at 0 because the spacer is still there, but it will still it will stop this our learn more button from being directly on top of this our borderline here. So that is it. They have other settings here, but they are mostly not required now. It's just for it's just for um premium WordPress users. That is it, like HTML anchor and the rest. So, but what we just need is this particular height to adjust the height. With that being done, the next thing we have to do now is to try our best to balance this page, to try as much as possible to balance this page on each section, so that, okay, one more place I need to add spacer to is to this our just before the waist categories. We have to add spacer there because as you can see, like the button is also close to the border at the top. So hope this like this good. So if I add this spacer to change this particular spacer, this I need it. I need it at the top here. But due to I did not add it here, all I can do now is click on it and then move it up. With this arrow now, if I click on it, it will move up. As you can see, this is where it's currently at, but we are trying to place it before this header. As also go ahead and reduce the height properly. Good. This is what we achieved so far. So the next thing we have to do, like I was saying, is to properly balance these items on each section, on this particular on this section, like to make it more relaxed. As you can see, everything is being congested at the center. To spread that out, sorry, I'm looking for a particular settings. Well, first things first, we have to think. This is not it. Good. When you select it, you click on this. Like once you select the border, it will display on this block tab, on still on this set still on your settings, still on your settings open tab. You see these block arrange blocks as you want them to be. You see the first one, transform to a group, transform to row and stack, and also transform to grid. Currently we are using transform to stack, that is the stack arrangement, but we are not done with what we are doing. We still need it, at the center. So the next thing we have to do is justify item center. With that being said, everything the our our blocks, that is our columns, will be properly relaxed on the page, while at the same time our header, paragraph and everything will be exactly where we need them to be. So when we click save, go ahead and click save, you will see, are you ready to save? These are some changes, all this blah blah blah. Once you see this, you proceed and click save. But if you are not sure you are done with your with what you are settings, you can click cancel and continue. But once you are sure you are done, just go ahead, proceed and click save. With that being said, anywhere, any project you are working on, once you select these W categories to add it from the patterns to add it to your project, automatically it will appear on your project in this format. Then we go back to our page, our project. There is this, like on top of your page, click on this back button. Once you click it, we go back to what we are working on. So this is it. This is what we've achieved so far. So we've done our header, hero page, about us section, and waste category section. Any question, please? On the phone, current, if I'm doing it on the phone, you guys, I'm not sharing my phone screen, but let's know how we do that towards the end of the class. But if you followed what I did in the beginning, at the beginning of the class, when I said switch your phone to desktop mode, that is, you will be viewing the desktop display on your phone. Eh, Clear, are you making use of a mobile phone or laptop? Laptop. Did you click edit original when I said you should do that? Okay. You know what? I would like you to share your screen so I'll see what you've been doing so far. I think it will be better that way. But you know how to share your screen. Claire, please on your mic and tell me what's going. Do you know how to share your screen?
Yeah, but I'm using a different device to do it.
Oh, you are on the class with a different device.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what will happen? Let me do it again. So please try and follow up this time. Do you understand?
Okay.
So so I believed that when I selected the section and added it as a block, you did that, which is why you had this edit original button on your screen. So when you click edit original, it will open up this mode. Sorry, yes, it will open up this modal with only the section we just created. When you click on, so when after adding your spacer, this is just a quick recap. After adding your spacer, which I believe you did, so the after the learn more button and the waste categories, you click outside. That is, you click the outside all the text, so no text should be selected. Instead, you will see all these blocks. When you click it, you your page will appear something like this. Yes, it will be something like this. So first things first, let me close this tab so you'll be following properly. So first things, after adding everything we added, your page will be like this. So you click outside all this text, click on this icon before the save button. When you click on that icon, it will open up this menu for you where you have pattern tab and block tab, but by default it's going to be on the block tab. What we are working with is this group section. Currently is on group, but you have this other stack method, which is transform to row, which is it will arrange everything we are doing in row, but it's the row. Arranging this particular section in row will make it very messy. We have this transform to stack, which is what we are using, which is what we did to balance out our work. So this is the grid. You see how the grid messed up the whole work. But if you click on stack, it will automatically balance it. But then by default, it's going to align the project to the right. As you can see, currently everything is aligned to the right. How do we solve this particular problem? You click the same way you clicked outside to put it in this stack mode. You still click outside and then select this icon here, this icon that is like straight line with a dark dash next to it. You click on that particular icon, it will show you this list of justify item left, justify item center, justify items right, and stretch items. But what we want is to justify justify item center, so our project will kind of be properly balanced in the center with these waste categories and the paragraph following it. You click on justify center. As you can see, both the button and our head and everything moved automatically to the center. Even our text balanced in the center, though it's not as visible as the header and the buttons, but that is actually what really happened here. Once you've done that, you click save, which is the most important part of everything we just did. After saving, you click on this back button here on the search bar. Click on the back button and you'll be redirected back to your project. Claire, I hope you are following. Good, good. And also, for those not following, the class recording is going to be on your dashboard. Also, for those making use of mobile phones, please try and switch your display to desktop mode. Everything I'm doing now, once you switch your display to desktop mode on phone, it will be working. In the beginning of this video, I showed you guys how to switch to desktop mode. Just on your browser, next to next to your search where you type in wordpress.com or where you input the meeting link. Next to that particular tab where where you type in the website you want to go to, beside it there is a three dot icon, three dots. You click there, search for where it wrote desktop site with a checkbox icon next to it. Once you click it, your page will refresh and it will try and stretch out your mobile phone like a desktop. You can also turn your phone. Once you do that, you can turn your phone. Once you switch to desktop mode, you can also turn your phone to make it more balanced, to make it appear more like a desktop than a mobile phone, and more relaxed. Because if you leave your phone straight, everything will still be kind of, both the sidebar and everything will be packed. It will be hard for you to see. And when your phone is on desktop mode, you can zoom out, you can zoom in and zoom out to see what you want to click clearly. So please, hope you guys are following. Hope you are following. Please leave a thumbs up. Let me be sure you guys are following. Good. So, with that being said, the next section, let me save my work to avoid crazy stories. With that being said, the next session we'll be working on today is, sorry, give me a minute, I'm coming. Okay, the next session we'll be working on today is how recycling works. This was like we said, like we did with this our waste categories, like the same, almost the same thing we did, but this time around we are going to be starting with image. Like I said, we are going to be creating our own tabs, sorry, our own patterns. Now we are not going to be making use of the default patterns. And first things first, to do that, so I'm looking for that plus icon again. As usual, mine is hiding. Normally you should see a plus icon here, but let me go ahead and click enter. If it's not visible on your own, you can click enter and create a new block for yourself, a new block section for yourself. If that plus icon I showed you, if it's not immediately available or visible, you can easily go ahead and, I'm trying to know if that plus, but well, it's trying to hide. But then you can click outside your project and click enter, and a new section like this will be created for you. But this time around, we are not just jumping into the topic. The first thing we have to do, I want to add an image, that is an image header to this particular section. Then that it will now be image header paragraph and then our grid. That is how I want to arrange these particular sections. To do that, I click on this plus icon, image, which is what we are looking for, image, select image. So as usual, I will be using an image placeholder. Or let me know if I can, no, let me use a placeholder. Later I will show you guys. We'll still do that together, maybe in our class on Tuesday. Before we start anything, before we start working on other pages, we first of all download images. We'll go ahead and download the images we are going to be using, add the images to our home page. Some images we will download from unsplash.com, some we will download from freepik.com, from freepik.com, yes. Then the rest of the images we can also, the ones we can't, if we do not find anyone, cannot find suitable image on Freepik or on Splash, we'll go ahead and generate the images ourselves. We can do that. And you guys are also working on During your your design class, if you guys can request your tutors to help you create an image that will fit properly into what you are working with, you can ask your tutor to do that for you. Makata was in this class. I think Mr. Hilary was there. It's like he left the class. Or with your knowledge of his class, you can generate the images yourself to make sure you are also understanding his class. But in the next class, I will still hold your hands while doing that, so nobody will be lost though. Let's proceed with our placeholder. As usual, we'll be using our hero image for the placeholder. So select. So this is it. Let me center this image. For image, as you can see, to center an image object and to center a text subject is entirely different. For an image, for an image object, you can see how the center button looks like. Though what is different is the button, but the process is basically the same thing. So as you can see the button here, you just click and none, which is none like this. Though surprisingly, none here means align to the left. So what will align? So this is none or slash align to the left. This we have align center and align right, but we need this image in the center. So when we'll be editing it, we can just select, group it into a single block and properly balance it, as like stretch it out to touch the edge. I need all the sections on this our project to be touching the edges of the user screen, so like it will properly balanced on any device a user is opening the project with. So what you are going to do as usual is align center. As you can see, automatically our image is now in the center. After that, when we've aligned our image to the center, the next thing we ought to do is to create our header, which we said our new header, our header for this section is going to be how recycling works. So we proceed with that. First things first, here you click enter, heading. So we are not going to be using H6 this time. We are going to be making use of something slightly large. Let's say H, let's try H4. Then not bad. So we are going to be using H4 to make it bold as usual. But this time around, I'm not leaving it at bold. I'm going to use italics on it too. So just for aesthetics, it's not that it's an important feature. I just did that for aesthetics. So we align our text to the center, then the next thing we add the heading paragraph. That is the line directly under the paragraph. Those that were in our last program, when we were building our calculator, I made mention of because we built it entirely with Python. I told you guys that if you wanted to display it on the web, you will be using HTML. But this particular WordPress is an inverse form of HTML. You are trying your best to avoid writing a lot of unnecessary. You are just going straight with building an easy website that is accessible to all. So is for someone asked me earlier if it's possible to build this using code. That is the default way of building a website. But WordPress is making it easier. Even in WordPress, there is a way you get how, like, there is a level you reach with WordPress. You add a text a code editor like VS Code and the rest, and start adding some codes to your WordPress, but that is for advanced, that is purely advanced. We are going, but this one, this what we are currently doing works anytime, any day. It's simple, stress-free, and like straightforward. So the next thing we are going to do is to add our paragraph, which in this case we are going to be using, excuse me. Okay, I generated this earlier as too. So we are just going to, I'm just going to copy and paste it. So we are just going to paste it here. So should select. Good. I'm going to remove the bold here and add italics instead. And italics is more like it drives home the point of explanation more than bold. So that's why we are using italics here. So if I'm adding italics here, let me remove it from the heading. So that is it. It's better that way. So the next thing we are going to be adding is our explanatory columns, trying to tell users how recycling works. And like we did with our waste categories section, we are going to, okay, yes, as we did with this particular section, we are going to we are going to use add another three grid, another column, like three columns, 3 by 3 columns, like we did with this part, like with our waste categories. So but this time around, we are using a straightforward column. What do I mean by a straightforward? We are trying to use another kind of column. These columns won't be having images. I won't be adding images to them. But that doesn't limit what you want to do. You can go, if you still feel like adding images is not a bad idea. But for this particular column, I don't want to be adding images to them. But on the waste management page, I'll be adding images to them on that page. But for our home page slash landing page, we are not going to be adding those images. So sorry. Okay, columns is not here. We go ahead and search for columns. Good. It's here. So we are going to be selecting the 3 by 3 column. Well, the first thing we do is our heading. This time around, we also be using H6 heading because we don't want the header to appear too large. So we'll be using a simple H6 heading. First one is make it bold and center it. So far, so good. Please, any question? If you have any question, please raise up your hand. So you guys are following. Leave a thumbs up if you are following. Good. Good. Let's proceed. So on our paragraph here, the brief explanation we are going to be using I think this particular paragraph, I copied it from the from the PDF Lota sent to me. That is the work you guys did in the foundation track in in his class. I copied it from that particular PDF. I think for this section only though. So I think I made a mistake somewhere. Let me be sure. I think when I was selecting the columns, I did something wrong there. So let me be sure. Columns. Good. Yes, I think I selected the 2 by 2 column, I guess. So that is why this is a, though I can edit this section into a 3 by 3 column, but instead of going through that stress, I can just achieve what I want directly, avoiding the stress entirely. So first things, heading, sorry, this center. And also, before we start our next class, we are going to first of all put our project live, because so far so good. We are still working. No, um this is just visible to us alone. So by our next class, before we start, after we add images, the required images to this section, I will show you guys how to take your site live. So anywhere in the world, you can just send your link to someone anywhere in the world they are. They can easily open your website and view what you've been working on so far. So that is the after we add images to this homepage, that will be the next thing we'll be tackling in our next class. Because if you are building without like, and it's not yet visible, you will be like, what am I doing, what have I been doing? But that is to show that so far so good. You are not just building something that is visible to only you. You are building something which is the goal of a website, something that is visible to everyone around in the world, like anywhere the person is, as far as they have access to your link. Like we explained earlier, the link is an address. As far as they have that your address, they can visit your project, which is on WordPress server, and view the work, what you've been working on, what you've been doing, without any limitations. Anything you want them to see on your platform, they will see it. So by the way, you must not wait for me to add the images. If you have images you want to use on your platform, you can go ahead and be adding them on your own. So by next class, though by next class I will still ask you guys, those that added the images on their own would identify, and maybe I will check their work out. And don't forget, by the end of this program, the best projects will be displaying them on our platform. So they will be visible to all your work. Everybody can be seeing your work, what you've done so far. So let's proceed with the second, our step 2, which is number 2. Collection. So heading again. Bold and center and centered. So you add again, you add your paragraph. That is the second way you can add a paragraph. You can click that plus icon and add your paragraph, or after typing your header, you can just click enter and it automatically creates a new paragraph for you. I believe you guys are following what I'm doing, right? Good. Okay. Then and then our step 3 is sorting, I guess, I believe. But let me just add it there as step 3. If I'm wrong, you can correct it on your own project though. If you think I'm wrong, you can correct what I'm doing on your own project. You must not follow my work verbatim. You can just follow the process, but you can add your own text or your own steps how recycling works. Is your project, is your work, is your users that will view it. I hope you guys are understanding. Are you guys understand? Leave a thumbs up, please. Let me be sure. Perfect. So here I'll be using enter. I'll be using enter instead of this plus icon. So after sorting, I just type here and type enter. And as usual, center it. Okay, I'm coming. Lota, you have a question?
I think Amanda says she's confused or something. She says she's lost. I don't know that about anything. Amanda said I'm lost.
Okay, let me check.
Yeah, you can check the chat, sir. So please always remember to raise your hands up. Amanda, anytime you just use that raise up button, that raise your hand
If you
button.
have a question, please don't hesitate to raise your hand.
So you will know. Sometimes you might not be at the chat. Mine got deleted, so I have to restart, and now I'm behind. Okay. Just
Please,
you can raise your hand up. You
please,
can
Amanda, raise your hand so I can see your account.
yes, and exactly.
Okay, good. Amanda, you can on your mic and ask your question.
I'm like confused because for the bit before, I can't like group it because it's just not working.
Okay. You have to, if you can't group it, don't worry. When we are going to group this particular section we are working on, just try and follow what we are going to do, because the grouping is the same process with what we did before. Do you understand?
Okay.
Good. So Chukwemeka, you're asking how you are going to host your project. Like I said earlier, like I said just like a few minutes ago, in our next class, after we finish editing this our homepage, like adding the images we want to add on this our homepage, I'll be showing you guys how to I'll be showing you guys I'll be showing you guys how to host your project on this thing. I'll be showing you guys how to host your project on, like, to make it live on the internet on WordPress. So don't worry about that. In our next class, as far as you are following, you will get to that stage. So any other question, please raise your hand. You can follow what I've been doing so far. You can edit this particular project we are working on the way you want. Or maybe if you have your own idea, maybe your own your own waste management idea, you can build based on that particular idea, following the steps we've been working on so far. So it's not a must you work exactly on what I'm working on right now. But I'm doing this with something you guys already have a knowledge of from the foundation track, which is what you guys did in green track that Lota handled. Hope you understand. Good. So proceeding, Amanda, we are going to be grouping this particular project now. We are going to be grouping it so we can edit it as. So also one more thing, before you group your project, you can just choose to add one more thing to it, which is not, you can add your button here instead of adding it later and editing it. You can easily add it here. Let me remove this section we created earlier. Yes, it will be better that way. So to group our projects, what you are going to do is I believe we started from this image. What you are going to do is I'm trying to highlight it, but what you are going to do is highlight everything. So this image, once you've highlighted everything, for those having issue with grouping, once you have highlighted everything, these tabs here will display. The first one here is what we'll click on this particular one before this stack icon. You click on this one. So once you click on that, it will group this our work into one, like into a single group. Like everything will be a single group because I highlighted them together. The icon you'll be clicking is the icon that is like this. Like when you navigate to it, it will write group on the top. Please hope you guys are following. Give a thumbs up. Let me be sure. Good. The icon you'll be clicking is this particular icon after highlighting. Once you click on this icon, it will group everything into a single pattern. The next thing we are going to do now is to save this pattern. Sunday, do you have a question? If you have a question, please raise your hand. If you have a question, raise your hand, please. Okay. Let's continue. Now that we've grouped our project, the next thing we have to do is to create a pattern, because we are going to edit it as a pattern. We are going to set it as edit and balance it as a pattern. But for some people believe that leaving their project this way, that is this squeeze to the center like this, is what they want. If this is what you want for your work, no problem. But most of the times it's better balanced in this manner than being squeezed like this. So the first thing we have to do is create a pattern with this. So we are going to name, what are we going to name it? Okay, I'll use HR works. That is how recycling works. That's how I'll be saving that. So I'll be saving it to our custom categories. So add. When I do that, the next thing before I start editing, the next thing I have to do is to save my project. So in case of anything, I'm not going to lose track of my work. As usual, just click. All you have to do is click on save button. It might, if you click on save button, it might open up some drop down for you, showing you what you've done just before you approve saving, but that is just a step to take. So now, to balance this section, what you have to do is click outside the text and the image and click on edit original. That is to edit the original image in pattern, sorry, the original section in patterns. So we can use it anywhere we want to make use of it without having to recreate everything from the scratch. So when we are here, first things first, so let me first add a button here. Add button. Let me first add a button here. I'm going to call this button waste management. And as usual, center the button. So when we've done that, add the spacer. That is so the button won't be hugging the line. Add a spacer. Open our editing menu. That is our setting menu. The icon is just before the save button. You click on it, drag it down a bit so the space won't be too tall. You drag it down a bit in this manner. So go ahead and add another spacer here. This particular spacer we are adding now, we are going to be using it before the image, that is at the top. So as usual, drag it down. After dragging it, sorry, let me use 0. Okay, good. After dragging it down a bit, I will now take you to the top with this arrow button, arrow icons here. Click the top arrow. It's not a must, it's at the top of the page. Maybe anywhere you need a spacer, that's where you are going to be adding this particular spacer. So with that, you say, before I start editing the column, you save. So you know that you are not losing any part of your work. So the next thing we have to do now is look on like the same place, from the same place you edited your spacer. When you click outside any text or image, click on that same settings board icon. At the top, you clicked outside this particular outside this empty, you click on this empty space, you will see these settings, which is the first one here is transform to row, transform to stack, and transform to grid. But as usual, we are working with transform to stack. When you click it, it will automatically balance your work. Like it will automatically balance your work to the edges, like so it will be more relaxed. But we are not done. Due to its non-balance, we are not still done, because as you can see, our text, some of our text and our button have now aligned to the left. So what you are now going to do is align those texts, click on this button here, this icon is, click on this icon here and select justify item center. Let me scroll to them so you'll be seeing what will happen once. Justify item center. Everything will balance properly and the center. Then go ahead and click save. Okay. Now that our patterns have been saved, we'll now go back to our project. So as you can see, this is what we have here currently. So one more thing before the end of this section, one more thing to add is our footer. Let's add a footer to this page, because I told you guys earlier, anything you can't add to the header, that is to this header, or maybe if your header is congested, you already have much buttons there, you can just proceed to add those buttons to your footer. But our own case, we are just going to be adding social media links to our page. So instead of building our own footer from the scratch, which is stressful to use columns and all, but what we are just going to do is we are going to do something simple, like the same way we did with our hero. We come to these patterns, navigate to the footer section, footer, okay, footers, navigate to this place. Then here they have a list of pre-built footers that we can use. But if you want to build your own footer using the same process we've been working with since, with columns and the rest, you can easily create your own footer. But then the footer we'll be needing, which footer has a social media link? There are a lot of simple footers here that we can easily use, but I think it would be better to, let me just grab this one here, click on it. So as you can see, it added the footer to the wrong, okay, it added the footer to the wrong page, and also this is not the footer I was looking for. So okay, let me go for something simpler. First, let me put the foot, let me just select here so the footer will enter properly. Good, let's use this one. There is, okay, let me correct something first before adding the footer. So this is where we'll be adding our footer here. So I just created a new block down there, so the footer will have where to enter. Mhm. What is it? Any question? Any question? Okay. Okay, good. So our footer, I was having issue earlier with aligning this footer. So the patterns was messing up. So I had to properly I have to add more spaces here for the footer to enter where it should. So with that being done, I can easily, with that here, the filter should have basic information about contacting the platform. That is why on most filters, you will see the company location. That is if it's a company. For this particular project, let me just do something like this. Backspace. 123 online class 4:30. So 4 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Tuesdays and Fridays. Then you add your contact email and your contact number. So that is it. So with the next class now, we will just add our corresponding images to this section, to these sections, and then I will show. Let me save this work first. Then this was the prompt I was telling you guys about earlier. When you want to save your project, you might see this prompt telling you the changes you've made, if you approve or if you want to continue make more changes. Save. So in our next class, after adding our corresponding image, I will show you guys how to host your WordPress project so it will be live on the internet. Claire, please remind me in the next class, or let me give it to you as an assignment. Try arranging the filter, but if you can't do that, in the next class, please join on time and remind me so I will tackle it earlier. Do you understand? Every other person, if you know that you're having issues adding your footer currently on your website. Okay, good. Well done, Claire. So any other person having issues with their footer, please make sure you join the next class early and remind me. Maybe you tried again after this class. Also, don't forget to watch. Okay, Sunday, I'm coming. The video of this particular class is going to be on your dashboard. Please do not forget to watch it, and do not forget to watch it also. To watch the video to maybe especially those having issues with their footer. So Sunday, you have a question. Please on your mic and ask your question, please. Sunday, please, you can on your mic and ask your question.
How do we do it?
I can't tell you.
How do we do it?
How do you do what? How do you add your footer?
Yes.
Okay. I will show you guys 2 ways you can do that. So you can mute your mic now. Two ways you can add your footer is one, go to this plus icon, click on it, click on patterns, scroll down to these footers. It will list, for me, I have default 14 footers. It will list the footers for you. Once it's done that, you can select any footer you want based on any design of footer you want. And then the second pattern is when you click on this plus icon, that is after your page, you can just at the end of your page, you click enter. There will be this, it will create this paragraph for you. Click on plus, search for footer. On this grid, it will display for you. Search for footer here. Footer. It will display footer, template part, cookie consent, and the rest. Sorry, cookie consent. Just go ahead and click on footer. Once you do that, it will add this exact footer I'm using to your project, and you can go ahead and edit it as you want. Do you understand? Thumbs up if you've been following so far. Good. So Sunday, please leave a thumbs up if you understood what I just did. Okay, perfect. So with that being said, we've come to the end of our class today. From next, you can leave the meeting now. Next class we tackle. Okay. Salome Ugu. Hillary said I should ask you a question. Sunday, you still have a question? I'm coming to you Sunday. Salome, please on your mic. Salome. Before we come back to Salome, let's attend Sunday. You still have another question? Sunday, on your mic and ask your question. Sunday, on your mic and ask your question, please. Okay. You guys should have a nice day. So I'll be ending the call now.
No. I mean the recording, like the recording.
Okay,
so that
yeah,
it doesn't
okay.
take a long time, not the class itself.
I know, just mistake. I meant I'll be ending the class recording now.